Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 51. We are beyond. We are beyond 50. It is crazy.
Beyond Hawaii.
I've come back to rainy, snowy Vancouver with a little bit of a tan. Do you see my tan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you shouldn't have laid out. I told you not to lay out that long without the stuff on, and you got a little burnt. But
that's what my face. Yeah. So we're back, and we are on episode 51 of the Make Music Income podcast. I'm Stevie B. I'm here with Eric Copeland and of MakeMusicIncome.com, and we are going to chat today about the possibility of not only promoting but perhaps earning money from your music, monetizing your music outside of the confines, the bubble of music libraries. We're going to look at a few cases of friends of ours that have started to do this, and a few of them have been really successful at it. And I'm curious about your thoughts on taking this approach. And I don't know, I'm thinking maybe you're setting something up for next year. And I want to talk through it with you and get your opinion on it.
Well, that's what I do with everything anyway. I do everything with everything.
You do everything.
Spotify, videos, all sorts of other uses, even for my stock tunes or my sync tunes. Yeah. I put them all out and I push them, and I'm doing some pushing right now. As a matter of fact, I need to look and see how my ad ended up, because I just did an ad for one of my piano songs. Christmas songs I just released. I'm going to do another ad this week, and I'm just going to keep doing that and try to have some success with that. But yeah, we can talk about all of that stuff.
I want to explore, the idea of cutting out the middleman, so to speak.
Yep.
And doing whatever we can to sort of try to create some income for ourselves, where that it's not getting taxed by people who stand in the way. So we'll get into that, but yeah, what's going on with you? What's this last week been like?
Oh man, it's been good. I've been working on holiday music and I some Christmas arrangements. I've got an idea for a pretty well-known Christmas song, but it's in my head, and it's one of those, Christmas songs. There's 1,000 arrangements for every Christmas song, just about. As I've talked about on this channel, I'm creating a kind of an more obtuse Christmas record, piano-wise, that I'm getting ready to release here in about a week. And I know it seems late, but
I was just going to say, it's kind of too late for like Motion Array, I guess, or.
Well, no, I've got some of it up on Motion Array already. Some of it's out there, and I keep waiting for them to do some kind of Christmas request for Christmas songs,
Right.
And I'm hoping they will, because then that'll urge me to. I can get a bunch of stuff in the library really quick, because you get them in, even if you don't get selected, they're in overnight, know. And but I have a few more I'm finishing up that I'll send to them. But I don't even worry about that. Christmas comes every single year, like clockwork. It's here. And so I don't worry about putting Christmas albums out on Christmas, because there'll be another Christmas or many, many more Christmases that these songs will be used.
I hope there's thousands of more Christmases.
Yeah, I do too. Or at least another good 20 or 30 for me. Anyway, Christmas is always useful. So even if you only get, a lot of people say, oh, you got to do Christmas in the summer. If you don't do Christmas in the summer, you won't get it out in time for Christmas. Yeah, that's true. But there's next Christmas. That's true. Everybody next Christmas, you can push the album again. Nobody will have remembered, because you won't be pushing it all year. So I love working on Christmas music. I love working on holiday music. I work on it all year round.
That's cool.
And not just Christmas holiday music. I have an Easter album coming out, on which most of those songs are already in all the libraries, but that's a piano album that I have coming out at Easter.
Right.
And I've had a lot of sales from songs that are patriotic and all sorts of stuff. So I believe in holiday music, and I'm working on a lot of holiday music right now. I like to work when I'm inspired, and I'm inspired around this time of year with Christmas music. I'm ready for the season. We're pulling out decorations and planning our Christmas time. And I also have a little break at school during these next, not this week and next week, but the week before Christmas and after Christmas. I'm basically legally off work. Now I can still go in and get hours if I want to, but I'm considering taking that whole week after Christmas off if I'm able, and filling it with other work that pays me so I don't lose any money. But
that's cool.
Think about doing some client things. I'll talk about some other things I'm thinking about, but I've been doing client things this week. I've really been getting into the Sono Kinetic 12 Days of Christmas thing.
Yeah, I just downloaded one of their freebies that I downloaded. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Vivace, yeah. I just got that. That's pretty cool.
Bad.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like I love the idea of doing those like runs. It reminds me of the adaptive runs library that Project Sam has. Very useful.
As I was going to say, the Project Sam free orchestra is what it exactly reminds me of. Will you use it to like play MIDI to do stuff? Maybe not, although there's a brass patch that's not bad. But again, when you have things like that you can add in just candy, and it's free, you can't beat free.
So what's the deal? They give away something free. Like they change it up throughout 12 days.
Sometimes it's like today's thing is is some kind of organ or something. Okay, and it's a 75% off deal. So they're all just deals, and the other days was free. And I like to just gather all those free string things and I pile them all together. Take BBCSO, and then you add on some Spitfire stuff you have, and then you add on some Logic string stuff you have for some close strings, and then you add in something like this to add in more stuff. Suddenly you have a pretty dang good sounding, orchestral sound with not much money down.
Yeah. Between the labs and BBCSO Discover and Project Sam's free orchestra, you can create some amazing stuff.
You really can. That's what I use.
It's a free trifecta right there.
Right. Especially if you're like me and you do hybrid type stuff, and it's you're not trying to really simulate an orchestra. You're just trying to do orchestral things over pop or stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
My sync ebook, I had a day, I had lunch with Mr. Dave Croft the other day, and it's way over on the other side of town. And Dave, we might as well eat breakfast when Dave likes to eat lunch, but he gets done with his teaching at about 11. And so we met for Thai at 11:30 and then had a nice lunch. But right over near there was a Barnes & Noble, and I had a couple hours before I had to be at work. So I just went over there and wrote on the ebook, and I realized I'm about in the last section. So I'm really excited for my sync ebook to be done. Cool. And that's the next kind of thing I'll have available. Then I'm working on the masterminds. They're filling up. I've got the Hello Composers Mastermind is filling up. I've got a couple now in the Make Music Income Mastermind. And I think what I might do with that last week of the year is really do the final push on that to try to start it all in January. And then maybe do some first like one-on-ones with people to just kind of get them ready for what they want to talk about. Yeah. Because I think it's important. Like last night before we started the second part of my class with my students, I took each one of them into another classroom and we sat down and I just asked each one of them individually, how you doing? How you feeling about this thing? What do you want to accomplish? Anything you need from, are you learning well? Are you, that kind of stuff. A lot of them are like, no one's ever done this before for me. I'm like, well, and that's kind of what I want to do with this mastermind. Before we even get started with it, I want to meet with them privately and find out, okay, what do you want to accomplish with this? And I'll know going in.
That makes a lot of sense.
And what are the best times for you, all that kind of stuff. The price is disturbingly low. I've found out Dave has chastised me for charging too low on my mastermind. So makemusicincome.com/mastermind if you want to find out more about that. And that's pretty much what I'm working on this week, other than just a lot of arrangements going around in my head. And this weekend I have a really kind of open weekend. My wife is going to be working very long hours for an event. And so I'm just going to be here pounding away on the keyboard and making all the lights blink and doing a bunch of stuff. So
that sounds fun. That sounds good. Yeah. Get in that mastermind while the prices are hot, folks.
Yeah, because I'm going to stay that way. This early bird price here pretty soon.
Yeah, right.
What have you been up to, my friend?
Well, the big
on
news was what I woke up to this morning when I checked my email. I got paid from Artlist, and I got a nice little Christmas bonus from them. It was pretty much what I expected, which is about half of what I made last year in terms of the royalties, just because, as you know, split my time between Artlist Originals projects this year and then what I sent them under their non-exclusive agreement. So the downloads.
And you were also pretty busy with Motion Array trying to really get.
Well, Motion Array is a whole other discussion.
Blew up.
Yeah, because Motion Array did a lot better this year than it did last year, which is good. So last year I was looking at my royalty payout last year, and it was $16,000 US, which is about 19 or 20-ish Canadian. And then, and that's after they taxed it a little bit. So there's a little tax credit thing. Then this year, after taxes, was just under $9,000, so which is about 11 grand Canadian. Roughly, about half, which makes sense. The downloads.
And so people understand they pay you yearly, and you only get one payment per year in December.
Yeah, that's right. And last year they did it actually right at the end of the year, and they did it early. I didn't expect it until like literally the last few days of the year. But it's kind of convenient to have it early because now I can kind of manage my taxes and stuff a little bit before the end of the year's up. So that's cool.
Your new bride is excited for her Christmas present. So
she said,
she's going to get something good.
Now I got to get her something. No excuses. I still actually have not bought her a Christmas present yet. I'm like,
we decided this morning what our Christmas presents to each other was.
Oh yeah,
and
it's not a secret. It's just
it's a hot tub.
It's a hot tub.
Well, we had one, and part of it broke, or the cats destroyed it. So we had to. We're buying the replacement part, which is a couple $100, and so we're just going to split that and give each other the hot tub. And so Christmas morning, our plan is be sitting in the hot tub on Christmas morning down here in Florida.
What do you don't need a hot tub in Florida. It's like too hot for hot tubs down there, isn't it?
Well, not in the winter. It's like, gosh, it's like 60 degrees. It's freezing.
I don't know what that means in Celsius, but you should come up and visit, and then you'll know what the real definition of cold is here.
Well, 32 Fahrenheit is 0 Celsius. So that's all you got to remember.
Right. Yeah, we've had this discussion. I always get it messed up in my head. Anyway.
Why am I telling you? I mean, I guess you non-Americans are supposed to know all these conversions, and all your centimeters and all your stuff.
I just feel like freezing zero is really easy.
It makes a lot of sense.
It should be the standard.
It truly does make
around
sense.
The world. What else is new over here? Working on the trailer course, trying to finish that up before the year's up. That's my goal. And
worked so hard on that thing. I saw your video last night. It was great with that hard challenge that everybody.
Oh man! Oh yeah. Then the November's challenge, man. Wow, I mean, not very many submissions, but the people who did send me something just really everyone blew me away. It was totally crazy. I was really impressed, and that's the grand finale for the year. It won't be the next live stream will be first Wednesday of January. So I'm excited. The next challenge is really just kind of to write the tracks that's going to define the next year for you, and get you motivated. And so it's kind of just like a loose, lightweight challenge, and I want to get as many people involved as possible. Got a lot of new members in the academy, and I got so much stuff planned for next year. I'm excited, man. We're gonna have to do a full episode on just our thoughts and plans for the year 2023. That'll be exciting. What else is going on here? I can't think of anything other than just
another one of those. I've already got a video planned. What I'm just like last year. What I'm not going to do this year.
Yeah, I was thinking of doing like a YouTube video for something along those same lines. Yeah, what I've learned or something. I don't know.
Well, and it's good that everybody should do it because everybody is different. You're different than me, and you're gonna better now, or at least you don't know if next year is going to be like this year with Motion Array or Artless. You just never know.
Totally.
And we didn't know last year at this time. We thought, oh, it's going to continue forever. And then we wake up January 1 and Motion Array is completely different for the rest of the year. And those watching right now are going, I hate you. But because there's much consternation about that. But
yeah, well, I certainly didn't think I was going to do as well as I did on Motion Array throughout this year, but it's been great, and I'm grateful for that. But I don't take anything for granted. I like it. Things change all the time, and we talk about this all the time. It's just like this whole music licensing stuff. It's all very fluid, and it's subject to radical changes, and changes can happen really quickly.
We could kind of transition from talking about what could happen with licensing or what has happened with licensing and start talking about what can we do with licensing outside of licensing. Is that what you're kind of thinking?
Yeah.
Tell me your explanation. Ask me your question, by the way, that you want to ask me.
Well, I sort of wanted to ask you, like, what do you think? Because I always have, it's funny. Let me rewind a bit here, because I started a YouTube channel before I really started focusing on my personal YouTube Production Music Academy channel, where I was posting like my stock tracks with like some video that I got from like free I think it was like Pexels or something like .com, and I was posting these like videos regularly, in the same way that like Morning Light Music does and stuff.
And like OSynth does that too.
Yeah, OSynth does it, and like Brian Jig does it. And and there's always been this question. We get this question fairly often: is like, is it worth posting your music to YouTube in order to promote your stock catalog? And a lot of these folks that we know, they'll put the link to their their Pond 5 or their Audio Jungle tracks where you can buy a license for it. And I've always been of the opinion that it doesn't really move the needle that much, just because YouTube is very, very saturated. But there is some people that are doing it right, and they're doing it, and they're making some income, and beyond that, they're not even linking back to music libraries.
Doing that because they were already huge on Audio Jungle?
I don't know, man.
And have been before?
No, actually, in fact, I want to talk about somebody that just got in touch with me recently, who has a YouTube channel, and I don't think he's on any licensing sites. He just sells the licenses through YouTube only. And then of course you also have like Lester, who was, I don't think any of his success on Audio Jungle or any other libraries translated into the success that he's had on YouTube. It's just a totally separate thing. So I'm curious about the idea of not starting a library, because I think that like starting an actual library is a lot of work, it's a ton of work, but maybe starting to develop a system that's like a pretty easy way to to grab a license or to monetize music outside of music libraries. Now, we'll talk about a few different things like that you could do. But one of the first people that I saw that was really doing this effectively was I don't know how to pronounce his name properly, but I think it's a Ukrainian dude, Ashamaluev.
Okay.
He's got this whole like YouTube thing going where it links back to like a Patreon, and basically for signing up to his Patreon, you can get access to his entire catalog, and it's all, I think most of it's registered with Content ID, and he'll just whitelist your channel if you're one of his patrons. And last I checked, his Patreon was killing it. Like he's making like, I think this was a long time ago too, like $5-6 grand a month. Because he's been pumping it out on YouTube for quite a while now, and his music's great. His music is.
Where do they
great.
get the tracks?
What do you mean? Where did the users get the tracks?
Yeah.
Well, they presumably get access to some kind of database. Like maybe
maybe they get access through Patreon.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so you sign up to be a Patreon, and then you get a link where you can download all his music and use it, and and then he'll whitelist your channel, I guess.
Do they pay a monthly fee? Yeah, they pay a monthly fee through Patreon, right?
Yeah, and then you also get fed like updated with new tracks that he puts out. I think he puts out like four, maybe a track a week or something like that.
So he's created his own subscription site, basically.
Exactly. And it's really got the gears turning in my head because essentially Lester is doing the same thing. He's started this YouTube, and you can use his tracks for free. You can download any of his tracks for free and use them in your projects, and it's all Content ID. And if you want to bypass, or you want to monetize your videos and bypass the claim, then you have to pay. And it's really that simple. So it's a win-win for him because he'll get the money from the folks who want to collect ad revenue. And if not, then he'll get some of the ad revenue. But it's like it's starting to do really well for him. I think, the YouTube channel thing has really got me thinking that maybe is it worth, I mean, it's a lot of extra work, but maybe.
And you think people that are looking for royalty-free music are going to YouTube to look for it?
Well,
that's the question. Or are they finding it in a Google search that, YouTube is owned by Google. So are they just finding it in a Google search? Here's what I had an idea about 2 weeks ago, and I actually bought it. I don't know if I bought the domain. I think I did, but it was like something like royalty-free holiday music or holiday music, something like that.
Yeah.
And I thought I'll just put all my holiday music up on this side, and every year push it a little bit through maybe like a Facebook and Instagram or something like that, and just do a little marketing towards it and just have my own little site up there. And it all seems fun and until you actually go, oh, I got to create a whole site. I got to put everything up there. How am I going to deliver it all to? And then I thought, well, I won't deliver it all. I'll just have them go to the site that I want them to go to, whether that's Motion Array or Pond5 or Audio Jungle, probably Audio Jungle, just because I don't know which one. Either, it doesn't matter which one they go to, as long as they go and they use it and they find it. But then there is so much SEO you have to do to get people to find it. But when you look at but I was trying to say, okay, all I have to do is get them searching for holiday royalty-free music. And if they do that and they find that my site, obviously they'll see Pond5 first and they'll see all the other sites first, but they might find my site and find these songs and like to use them. And I got nothing. It would cost me zero really to just have a site up that then directed them over to my stock sites to download it. So that's one thing I was thinking about, and I haven't done anything on it. I saved a WordPress name or something, but I and now we're at December 8th. It's probably not going to be something I do. Although I could split it up into sections, like patriotic music, Easter music, Christmas music, and whatever, because I think that is something that people search for. And if they don't know how to go to a Pond5, they don't even know what Pond5 is. They just know they need some music for their video, and they do use Google. Maybe you could get, seen and found that way.
I think getting a little bit more, niche about it. Like if you're just starting like sort of a generalized royalty-free music thing on the channel on YouTube, it's going to be hard to make noise, I think. But like someone got in touch with me just a couple of days ago. I hope he doesn't mind me bringing him up here on the podcast. I'm not sure if he listens to the podcast. His name's Johnny, but he's he just does like this kind of like these solo piano pieces on YouTube. Some of them are kind of emotional, some of them are sort of cinematic, but he's really good at it. And most of them are just like solo piano pieces. He's got about 30,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I was kind of just curious, like listening to some of his tracks, and then I saw that he has like a link back to just sort of like this really simple website that he set up through Wix, where you can license the track for your commercial projects. And then beyond that, he's also selling sheet music to some of these songs. And I was like, that's really smart, Yeah. And I think it's like anything on YouTube. It takes a while to get the traction going, but dude, I mean, some of these these videos that he's putting up have got like a lot of views, man.
And
A
what we
lot of
haven't even
views.
talked about is I'm sure he has Spotify links as well,
That's it. That's exactly
and
it. You
Apple
know?
links and all that stuff. And this gets back to the very tenets of the Make Music Income channel, which is you have to think multi-use. You can't just think, I'm going to put this up to Pond 5 and I'm done.
Yeah.
No, you have to put up this first of all, the easy, simple, quick thing is to go ahead and put it on Spotify or, put it on DistroKid and just get it out to all the things.
Totally.
Make sure that is on your catalog, all of your catalog things that people can find. But why not put it out there for legacy's sake more than anything? If your family wants to know what kind of music you make and you've been just putting it in Pond 5 and Motion Array and whatever, you can say, yeah, go to my Spotify. And I know a lot of people on our Discord are talking about, making income from DistroKid, and they know when they're going to get paid in a very similar way to the way you get paid or I get paid from royalty-free libraries. So
Yeah, absolutely.
that's a no-brainer for what you should be doing with your licensing music.
Yeah.
Although I did hear a story this week on from somebody. I can't remember who it was, but he said that he asked Amuse, which is the distributor that Dan Barracuda uses.
Yeah.
And he asked Amuse, is it okay if because he was trying to test them out as a content ID place as well. He says, can I put, the things I'm putting out to my stock libraries on Amuse, and will you push that hard with your content ID? And they basically said, no,
Why?
we won't. And second of all, they said, don't put your stock music here. Now, I told him in the Discord, I'm like, why did you tell him it was stock music? Just put it up there. Don't say anything.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. It's like, what are they, like, they're not
How
gonna,
are they going to know?
Yeah, they're not going to know. That's
put my
funny
stock
that they
stuff
said
up
that.
there. I put all my folk pop stuff on Amuse. That's the one I use for my one brand I have.
Yeah.
And just because I like to try different distributors and see how they work and stuff. And I like Amuse. It's very clean and easy to use.
Cool.
But I don't push the songs. Nobody knows they exist, so they don't get many plays. But I think Spotify should be part of your strategy. And probably if you're going to do Spotify and you do want it to make income, you're going to have to do things like Andrew Southworth talk about, and that is, market them on Facebook, even if it's for just a few bucks a week or something like that. You've got to do.
Yeah. Or Instagram, right? I mean,
Facebook, when you market on Facebook, it does both. It does Facebook and Instagram because they're owned by the same company.
Right.
So.
I'm when I had my because what I'm talking about here is in terms of throwing my doing these little videos and make for my some of my stock tracks on YouTube. I've gotten rid of that channel because I fully didn't have time to, and maybe that's at the end of the day I don't have time for this. But when I was doing it, I had a Tone Den link. And Tone Den is kind of like a gated link, right? Like where you basically you were allowed to download the track, but you had to follow my playlists on Spotify. And I built up, some of those. It was actually pretty effective because most of the videos I put up on YouTube, we got like very little. They just didn't make an impact. Like they got like, a couple hundred plays at the most. And it was hard to, it's like, like I've been saying the whole time, it's hard to break through the noise. But one video in particular was like this trailer track, and it got like a lot. It got like 30,000 views or something like that in a pretty short period of time. And I had a Tone Den link to download it. People thought it was really usable. And I built up the followers on a couple of the playlists that I had like pretty effectively using this Tone Den link. And it was totally free to use. They just convert, whoever's downloading it to a follower. And like building up your playlist links is something that you can really monetize effectively over time. And it's a way to, like if Andrew Southworth will talk about this too. It's like, if it's a way of leveraging your own music to get on other people's playlists. So like playlist trades, for example, like, if your music's going to work well with one particular playlist, you can say, well, let's swap, like I'll put your music on mine if you put mine on yours, kind of thing.
So it sounds like that Tone Den is a better use than DistroKid's Hyperfollow, because Tone Den makes them, if they want to download the song, they have to follow you on Spotify, which is, helpful, because then every time you put out another Spotify song, they will get notified and things like that.
Yeah, I don't know
correct?
what the hyperfollow thing on DistroKid does exactly, because I haven't really.
It doesn't do anything except give you it plays a little clip of the song, and then it has the links to all the stores. That's it.
So it doesn't. Yeah. So Tone Den's a little bit more rigid in the sense that it actually like requires you to follow the artist or the playlist in whatever. Yeah, there's a bunch of things you can do with actually you can get people to follow you on SoundCloud.
Look into that.
I built up my SoundCloud following using Tone Den as well, and it's totally free to use it.
That's probably bringing you a lot of money.
No. Yeah. With my SoundCloud you can actually monetize SoundCloud, but you got to get ridiculous amounts of plays on it to get any kind of money. The old label I used to work for monetized SoundCloud. I can't remember what they.
It was a main thing for certain, and for certain genres. It's a popular.
It's still survived. Yeah, it was a time there where it was like, I'm not sure if it's going to be around much longer, but they've survived. But anyway, yeah, Tone Den has got a ton of flexibility built in, and then you can pay for the pro version of it, which does a bunch of different things, and then it also has like a marketing stuff integrated into it as well, so you can create ads through Tone Den as well. But yeah, the free version alone can you can actually use it quite effectively to build up your followers. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
What's the other one? Tone Den, and what's the other one? That
Hype Edit is the is the other one. I haven't looked into that too much, but yeah, I'm trying to think of ways like if there was going to be kind of like a goal for next year, it would be to just to continue to sort of brainstorm about ways that I can get my music out there without the help of libraries. Not that I'm upset about anything with to do with libraries. I'm really stoked. But ultimately the goal should be to make your music to cut out the people that get in between you and the end user. Like I don't know if I'm not sure how much of how intense it would be to be in a situation where, like, say, like the Ashumalev guy, he's got like so many people on his Patreon now, and like so many people like downloading his music and using it. I wonder if he just spends like a lot of his time just clearing and whitelisting channels. Like, how labor intensive is that to do? Is it pretty easy?
Have it automated somehow. I
wonder. Yeah.
Oh, and that's the other thing we haven't talked about in this discussion yet is Content ID.
Yeah.
Is that, I think at the end of this year, we can maybe make our final analysis about Content ID, at least for 2022, and talk about it for 2023 when we do. But it seemed like a no-brainer for me so far this year. I don't see any reason not to put stuff in Content ID. You said it recently with Dave, where you said, what we talked about many times was that we were scared it was going to affect our especially motion array. We were mainly scared it was going to affect motion array.
Yeah, totally.
And you have totally proved that it absolutely doesn't. You've made more money than many people that we know personally, and many of those that you made money on were Content ID songs. So people are obviously not worried about it that much. So
no, for sure. I was skeptical about Content ID right up until like the last statement, but there's just been exponential growth on it. I mean, there's just every time I get a statement, it's just like it's like 100% or more like detected videos. So hopefully it just keeps getting better, man. I'm hopeful about it.
Mine has gone down in how much I'm being paid, but doubled or tripled in how many libraries how many videos it's finding. So I think it's just continuing to find them. And I had one take off and pay me $100 a month there for a while. So it can happen. And there's a lot of rules where you could get thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of plays, and you don't get paid a dime because it's a marketed video or it's cleared or whatever. So you're going to have to be prepared. But a lot of people on our channels, they always say, I wish I could see where my music is being used. Well, Content ID will show you the video that your stuff was used on, and you can go watch it. And you could even use that as a demo on your site. You could, say, hey, here's some of my music in use if you like the use of it.
Yeah.
So I just don't see any reason why you probably shouldn't be doing Content ID right now. And I truly believe, and that story about Amuse really brings on my thoughts that you need to get a company that is an absolute focus on Content ID and not just a sideline thing. How in the world could Amuse, but not even Amuse, let's talk about DistroKid or CD Baby, which have hundreds of thousands of people in there. How can they pursue the Content ID for all of that with the same kind of vigor that a company only focusing on Content ID does?
That's
they have too much other stuff
right.
to do.
That's exactly right. I tend to think the same thing. Kind of wonder how many tracks are in the Identify database, though.
I think SongTrader does a better job than some of those. If I was, because I've seen stuff from them in Content ID before I switched over, and they were concerned about it, but they also juggle a million things they do. I rather would just find it's like going to YouTube. Yeah, YouTube just does long form videos. That's the main place that does long form videos. What else? What other place is there? I'm not going to fool around with long form videos, even if Instagram lets me put them on there. People go to YouTube to watch long form videos and now shorts too, but mostly still long form. I think if you do anyway, but yeah, I think we're rounding up the list of what you need to do with your licensing outside of licensing. And any other thoughts you had besides the ones you've come up with?
No, I'm just focusing on YouTube here and
so
the potential.
Here's my list. Here's my list, and not necessarily in this order of importance. You go ahead and put your stuff in the libraries. Whatever libraries you deals you get, and they work for you, do that. Obviously, we're not even talking about if you should put your music in libraries. We're not talking about skirting libraries and doing other things.
Yeah,
go ahead and do the licensing. It's not that we don't agree with licensing. Second for me though is Spotify and putting everything that is on. And I'm bad at this. I'm trying to get this stuff out. Is put everything on Spotify. With certain exclusive deals, you might have to be careful about that. Right. If you're with Artlist and there might be you might not be able to do that yourself, or with an exclusive library, they may want to do that. But for the most part, all my exclusives so far are. I'm getting ready to sign with a new one, but all of them say they don't care. And so I put it all out there on Spotify, and not that it's making a lot, but I'm not. I think if you're going to do Spotify and you want to make income, we are talking about marketing ideas for how you could market your licensing songs. Well, you have to market your Spotify as well. You have to market your Apple, and you have to market that through Facebook, Instagram. I think is probably, like Andrew teaches. I think that's probably the best way to do it. Even better than playlist companies where you buy your way into playlists and things like that. I think it's smarter.
I'm a little skeptical of those for the most part. I know there's a couple of like reputable.
Submit Hub is probably the most reputable one, I would think, but there's people with stories about that.
Right.
After Spotify and DSPs, I would say YouTube, and if you could figure out a YouTube Patreon situation, maybe, or if you have a website where you can collect that with people, and be able to do deals through your website with people directly, and then Content ID, which it kind of is a especially if it's stock stuff that you have in libraries, it should be going to Content ID as well. Also, as we've learned, another thing, it should be in your PROs. People ask me all the time, should I put my stock music in PROs? And I now absolutely know the answer to that is yes, because I had an Audio Jungle download be used in a television show in the US, and I got paid on my PRO statement, on my BMI statement for it. So it needs to go in there. Talk about not going to a middleman. I guess in some ways BMI is the middleman, but they're the people who collect the money and you get that money. I think it needs to go in your PROs. Some people ask if it needs to go in Sound Exchange or MLC. Probably not, because MLC only collects from Spotify. So you should probably still be in MLC and Sound Exchange, but that's not really what we're talking about here as much, I don't think.
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm gonna tinker around with some ideas, and maybe, I don't know, start something else on YouTube. I just think YouTube has got so much potential for like organic free marketing for your music if it's done right. I know it seems like it's oversaturated and it's like a crowded place, hard to break through.
I don't think that at all. And I think I have at least 3 or 4 brands that have YouTube videos. I just put 2 of them up to DistroVid today. There's a new thing that DistroKid has called DistroVid.
Oh yeah.
Where they put it up to they make your own Vivo channel. They put it up to Apple Music where people can download the videos or watch the videos on Apple Music or download them from iTunes. There's a few different things that they offer. I'm kind of doing a test of it, and then they've sponsored me to do a video on it. Cool. So I'll be talking about that soon. But I have, my Player A Jazz channel has its own YouTube. My Quiet Soul Piano has its own YouTube. It's just taking the time to make the videos for all the songs is the thing.
Yeah, right.
Because we already have enough trouble making videos for our own channels, much less making videos for each song we write, which are legion throughout the year. I probably have 60 to 100 tunes that I've pumped out this year, and written and put out in different ways.
Yeah, that's great.
Just to get those done was enough, much less do a video for each one.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's where I always come up against the it's the problem of like the time management.
I want them to be artistic and beautiful, and not just a picture that someone has to look at for 3 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I got to get in touch with Artlist and see if they can give me a discount on the art grid stuff, so that I could use some sweet stock footage for my.
I have Envato Elements
YouTube library.
Envato
Elements isn't bad. It's not bad. I had a subscription to them for a while. I feel like
have to be careful and pick the cinematic things, I find.
Yeah, right.
Because there are some terrible things, and sometimes I just use pictures and do some movement on the real beautiful high res picture.
Yeah, right.
And that is nice too. So
totally.
I do a lot of these kind of lyric videos and picture videos for clients. So it's a little too much like work for me because usually if I have to do it. But I've also found people on Fiverr and on Upwork who can do that for me for $50. So is it worth it to pay somebody $25-$50 and get a video done for you? And you be able to throw it out there on your channel and push it. And again, that's money going out versus money coming in. But
yeah, $25. Yeah, that'll add up depending on how many videos you want to do, I suppose. But could be worth it.
You do one a month.
You can do one a month. Yeah,
not too bad.
That might be where I start. One a month. See if I can get 12 videos up next year.
So yeah, there is more that we can do with our songs that we're putting into licensing. And if you're watching this, you're not doing licensing. Hopefully, you've started down another road. Maybe you've gone to Spotify first, or you've gone to YouTube first, and then you might need to be making the move to put your stuff into libraries. We meet all the people all the time on our channel says, I've been doing music for years and I just heard about this licensing thing.
That's exactly what I was going to say, is that a couple of these folks that reached out to me, they're mostly, the reason they reach out to me is just to say that they discovered my channel on YouTube and they're like, wow, I didn't even realize that this licensing stuff even existed. And I'm really excited about it because it's this extra, it's this potential revenue stream for me. And I've already been killing it on, YouTube doing my thing and Spotify. And I'm in like the opposite side of the boat, just being like, oh damn, I want to be doing like more of what you're doing. So it's like a trade of ideas, and it's really cool that people reach out and just to say hi and tell me that those kinds of things. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Again, making music income on all fronts is the key.
That's the goal.
I continue talking about it on my channel because it's true. I don't make money. I couldn't live off what I make from stock and certainly not from sync right now. So I have to have other music incomes that all pay into the thing and make it all go. All right. Well, I think we've covered that pretty good. If you are in licensing and you are wanting to stretch out, we've opened the door for you here and talked about a lot of things. And you can find other videos on my channel and Steve's channel where we talk about different things that we do and offer those things. But I think that's a pretty good list of things.
Absolutely. Check out some of the resources that Eric's got on makemusicincome.com. They're going to be very helpful for you for getting organized. And if you want to invest some time into improving your production chops, check out productionmusicacademy.com. And I guess that'll do it for today. Been a good talk.
All right, everybody. Have a great week, and we will talk to you next week.
Absolutely. See you guys.
Bye-bye.